speaking of said detail, let's go in there now and add some of that detail essentially. Okay, so with the boot selected, you can see we're still working on only a single subdivision, which is quite crazy to think sometimes. You could subdivide it, but I'd make a case for the fact that we could do some more here with just the first subdivision level. And you remember how I said that it kind of bows out as at the front, it kind of pinches at the front there, because that's how all boots are made. You can see there that the pinching at the front there is basically resulting in that excess of material, which is why it's creasing at the front, but as it wraps around the side, it's not so creased, okay, because it's got that excess material there. So all I'm going to do here is, you can see that it's a bit of a leaning towards the left inner side here. I'm just going to try and, well, we can take our trim dynamic brush and just sort of trim that away to try and centerize that a bit more. And yes, I just made up a word. Centerize, yes, very good. I'm very good at creating words. Just whatever takes my fancy, I'll go ahead and just stick with that. I think before I use the pinch tool, I'll go ahead and I'll select my favorite brush, the damn standard brush. Although don't tell the trim dynamic brush that I said that. That was a Freudian slip. And I'm just going to, again, low intensity, big size. Let's solo it out. Just going to try and tell the mesh a suggested vertical line down the middle. Okay, not too heavy, just a suggested line like that. So basically, you've got that kind of crease there. Okay, and you guessed it, we're going to do the same for the back. Okay, because that's the part where it kind of pinches out. It pinches out at the front and the back. And if you're getting a little bit like any issues still where you can still see some of the heel there, you can of course trim dynamic that out of existence. Okay, which I've just done there. That's fine. We kind of we can put these kind of creases back in a little bit more. We can at a later stage, but for now we just really want to focus on the overall shape of the boot and get that right first, and then we can put those creases in any time when we're done. Okay. So there we go. We've got a boot now that's pretty much more or less kind of centered in the middle. I just add a bit of inflate there. Okay, so you can see that's pretty centered now, centerized, as I said. Okay, there we go. And that's starting to look like a boot now. As you can see, it kind of curves around the back. Now, the heel looks a little bit weird, so let's just bring back the sole. And yeah, the heel could do with being creased in a bit more. So let's just take a damn standard brush. Let's do it a different way. Make it nice and big, and we'll just kind of cut an indent in there, but not too much, obviously, just a bit of a suggestion. So a little bit just lightly drawn in there, and then you can smooth that out, and that kind of creates a nice little fold for the heel. Isn't that a nifty trick, eh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right, instead of using the move tool, that worked nicely. And of course, if you feel the same way about the front a little bit, maybe you want a deliberate crease just above the ankle there, you can use exactly the same trick. Just kind of crease it in there. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. Okay, just be careful about having it too kind of strong. That's fine like that. Okay, so what can we do next? Well, I think I want to add this kind of pattern in here. So the actual place where the toes sit, it's not going to have a lot of creases. It's made out of tougher cowhide. In fact, it's probably double layered. Okay, so I like this kind of pattern there. It's very cowboy and western, so I think I might go with something like that. But before I do, let's just go back to the concept art and see what we've got. So you can see the concept art doesn't talk about anything like that, so it's always good just to go back and check on that. So I think in light of that, let's just add the heel bit in instead. Okay, so let's go to the heel. And the heel, let's now time to increase the subdivisions. Okay, so the heel, let's draw a nice shape for the heel, something like that. And you have to try your best to get it even on both sides. Okay, something like that. We don't have the luxury of kind of cutting out a strip and then seeing how that works. Although I think I lucked out quite well there. That looks quite even on both sides. It's just about how high you want to go. Okay, now I've always found before, what I used to do is just kind of create a fake layer with different subdivision levels, but now I always prefer to kind of use a mask and extract that. So we don't need anything that big. We'll do 0.05. Smoothness here isn't going to help that much. We'll extract. It's okay. Maybe let's try smoothness at 100. Okay, so I was wrong. Smoothness at 100 is going to help, but we'll do 0.002 because we don't need anything too thick. That's about right. We'll hit accept. Okay, So with that there, now we've got an extra piece there, so we can start playing around with this. And it's kind of rounded off that, unfortunately, but now, oh, a little bit too high poly. Let's bring the polygon count down. We'll halve it at the very, very least. And we'll tell it to halve it again, but we'll bring down the adapter size. There we go. Let's do the same thing again. Okay, so this is going to be a lot easier to manipulate now, much less polys to deal with, so we can go ahead and kind of put in some of those creases. Let's just check the concept art. Yep, okay, that doesn't look too bad. Let's go back to ZBrush. Okay, just adjust some of this. Okay, and just, you could always come in here a little bit because it's a bit thicker. It's going to kind of sit on the sole a little bit more, so just use a standard brush, just use the inverse function and just kind of brush that, sweep that back into the groove essentially. Okay, something like that. Okay, and then smooth it just for good results. There we go, we've got the heel of the shoe there, nothing majorly done, but still quite okay. Now let's go ahead and see about placing those belts, shall we? The belts that go across the boots. Now, we want the belts pretty high up and pretty much around the ankle, so I'm going to try and put it there, but then I think I'll have it sitting around the ankle a little bit more. We'll see, we'll try out both, we can do that. So let's put the belt around the top first, because that's an easy one, we know exactly where that goes, but of course, this boot now has several subdivision levels, so we do have to clone it. We'll hide the original, and then we will kind of delete any subdivision data, so we can draw an IMM strap once again. We've done this before. You want the curve, and then I'm going to use a wide strap because that's the size and shape I'm used to. Let's just test out a few sizes. That's too small. That probably does look to be about the right size, although I will go a bit bigger and see how that is. 90 starting to get a bit too big. Let's come down to, let's see, let's type in a deliberate number of 75. Seems like a good halfway house, and see how much that is. Okay, yeah, that's a bit on the big side, so let's go to 70 and see what that does for us. Again, probably a bit too big. Let's go with 56, 56, 50, 50 perhaps, 50. Yeah, I say 50 is about all I would want to challenge it to be. So again, a little bit of wiggle room taken into account. Let's go with 50. So we'll start somewhere up here, and we won't be able to draw all the way around. We just need to kind of do this in stages. Okay, so the brush is gonna kind of freak out a little bit, but don't worry about it. We'll write it in a minute, and we can see there that it's just gone, hey, I know how to wrap around, and look, what is that? ZBrush. Looks like Marvel's design has been rubbing off on you. Okay, let's undo that. Let's not let them meet ever, because that was ridiculous. It was great, but it was also ridiculous at the same time. So we'll just kind of make it a little bit lower, and remember I did say that we would have the straps kind of feed in somewhere. Okay, but I'm just gonna draw a little bit more. Just don't, whatever you do, just don't meet them, because you get that weird spiral phenomenon, whatever that was. I have no idea. I'm not even going to explain what it is or try to explain it. I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy it did, because that was hilarious. It's kind of cute as well. It's just basically ZBrush going, I don't know what to do. What do you want from me? The day we can talk to software like Cortana and just basically tell Cortana what we want. Say, Cortana, we'd like to make a strap that goes all the way around this part of the boot, please, and then it just gets made. That would be great, but at this point in time, we're dealing with this. So if you have this issue here, you can go into stroke, and I believe in the curve modifiers, or some curve there. It doesn't actually have the end locked, which is interesting. Okay, so never mind. I thought that could be something we could do, but no worries. We'll just kind of alt-click to finish that off, and we'll go to our trusty old move brush, or actually move topological. There it is, and we'll just kind of move that up to where we need it to be. Make it nice and big so you get the least amount of warping. Okay, just make sure that's... There we go. Sometimes the move brush is just the best way to go, because the curves sometimes... Oh dear. The curves sometimes just don't play ball. Again, don't ask me why. Don't know. I've been using ZBrush for years. Couldn't tell you. It's just, again, a lack of communication between the human artist trying to sculpt something and then the software misinterpreting exactly what we want. So this little part here, it's a bit wonky. Let's do a mask there. We'll invert the mask. Oops, that's not good. We'll put that in a mask too. And I just want to come in with the rotation gizmo. Actually, we'll go manual and draw a little rotation line there, and we'll just tell it to, point up. Wiggle it about a bit. Could even move it about. Yes, there we go. Okay, so now it's pointing a bit more in the right direction. There we go. We haven't lost much thickness there, that's fine. And we'll kind of worry about where that tucks around and into what a little bit later on. That's perfectly fine. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll draw the other one now. This is going to be even trickier. Does anyone remember the size I used? I believe it was 50, right? Right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, is that 50? It's 50. It's totally 50. I remember now. Oh, I didn't forget. I did not forget. No, oh dear. Oh dear. This is not... It's not working out too well. Okay, let's go low. So this is not quite working out for us. Let's draw one here, and then we'll just... Yes. We have to fool it, essentially. Okay, yeah. Tuck yourself around there. Yeah, tuck yourself. Let's just check. Let's not click on bend start. Nope, it's still pretty much frozen. Okay. Let's pull that round. It's sort of getting there, sort of. Not really, not entirely, but sort of getting there. Oh dear. It's happened again. Right, so I'm going to use my trick again. Let's undo all that. I'm going to draw a strip, I think that's about the right size and length, no, a bit more. And I'm just going to trick it. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it around where I want it to go. That's it. Follow me around. That's it. Yes, good curve brush. Well done. You stay there and remove the rest of you around here. Ah, it's still flying off a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yes. There we go. Okay, it's a little bit skewed, but I'll take it. Okay, so let's jump to our move top. Oh, no, let's go back to the IMM. We'll alt click somewhere first, then we'll use the move topological brush, and we'll bring him back in. But again, probably a better way of doing it is masking off this here and then using the rotation. So let's bring that back in. So telling him, hey, you've got to curve round a bit tighter than you are right now. There you go, something like that. And now that the angle's been largely corrected, let's just mask off the boot. We can more easily, without running the risk of kind of skewing it in any way, shape, or form. There we go. Something like that. Again, don't know where these are going to go, where they're going to kind of start, finish, and end. But you can see there that idea of having the strap there horizontally placed around the ankle isn't working out too well. I don't like it as much as if it was kind of at that 45 degree. So let's go ahead now. We'll make the executive decision. We're going to say, right, let's move it. Let's use the move gizmo. So we'll actually go back to this, and it's a little bit wonky. Let's see if we can align a bit better. Let's unlock it. We'll alt click there. That's a bit better. We'll lock it again, move it down, and we'll just rotate it. And then we'll just try our best to kind of do a best fit. Remember when we drew lines of best fit in high school? We're basically drawing curves of best fit here. Okay, I'm getting annoyed. I can't use the move topological, so let's use just a generic old move brush. That's fine. And then we've got leather straps there. And now it's a bit tight around here, so I have to pull this guy out a bit. Which is okay, that's not too bad. It's fine. because you have yet to decide where that's going to go, but that's okay there like that. Okay. Right, I think the strap being there is a lot better. In fact, I think if I could make it a bit flatter, there we go. Pull the top out a bit more and bring it a bit more down. Maybe I want the top to kind of sit out a bit more, push the bottom in a bit, bring the top out a bit more. There we go, something like that. Anyway, we can play around with the tweaks and whatnot to that. Okay, but there's the general shape of the boot. Okay, so that's adding straps to the boot. Let's spend one more video. Oops, don't want to make sure the boot's masked there. Let's just spend one more video kind of pulling down the kind of, I guess, like the floppy bunny ears to the boot there, and then we'll kind of move on over to the gloves a little bit. Okay, if you're wondering why I'm darting around between section and section, remember, like I said before, I want to see how the overall character design looks in 3D, then I take it from there, and then we go back through and we start adding in the detailed components.